unlucky Parkman kin could have a go at doing their duty and do the research that would almost certainly stir up more gossip than it already had. The memories came of Royce's fatal car wreck, of the fact that Millie could no longer remember his taste, his scent, or the last time Royce had told her he loved her. But there was something she could recall in perfect detail. That what she'd had with Royce had been a big, fat lie. Millie felt the memories and the lies roll into a hot ball, one that would surely spiral her into a panic attack if she didn't stop it. She needed fresh air, but bolting now would cause every eye in the room to turn and look at her, to pity her, to whisper about her behind her back. Millie didn't want the pity any more than the gossip or the memories, so she started silently repeating the mantra that she'd latched onto shortly after the panic attacks had started. Beyond this place, there be dragons. It was something she'd seen written on an antique map, a way to warn travelers of dangers ahead. A beautiful map of golden land and teal-green waters. The image of it soothed her, and sometimes, it reminded her not to go beyond the gold and teal. That if she crossed over into the dragon pit of grief, she might never come back. Beyond this place, there be dragons. The back door opened, bringing in yet more heat and a spear of the May sun that would warm things up even more before it set in a couple of hours. The trio of overhead fans whirled, scattering the heat, some dust motes, and the clashing scents of perfumes that the majority of attendees had splashed on. "I volunteer as tribute," the newcomer called out. The newcomer, Frankie McCann, was decked out in a full Hunger Games Katniss Everdeen costume, the cool leather one from the scenes in the last movie. She'd even braided her hair, but unlike Katniss, Frankie's locks were a blend of pink, peach, and canary yellow. Frankie's announcement caused a few giggles, including a hoot, holler, and a knee slap from Alma Parkman, the president of the Last Ride Society. There were also some scowls as the eyes turned toward the back of the hall. Millie tried to poker up her face and show nothing, because pretty much any kind of reaction from her would spur more of that pity and gossip. Millie also kept that blank face when Frankie sank down beside her. Even if Frankie hadn't come decked out as Katniss, her presence would have stirred up talk. But Frankie had a right to be here. 7 years earlier, when Frankie had been barely 21, she'd married Tanner Parkman, Millie's brother, and even though they'd divorced only a year later, Frankie had given birth to Tanner Jr., or Little T, as people called him. Since there hadn't been a provision in the Last Ride Society to remove divorcees, or those who'd given birth to Parkmans, Frankie had remained in the bowl of names. Much to the disapproval of those, well, who disapproved of a lot of things. "Hey, this is a good turnout," Frankie remarked. Her voice was like a perky dose of sunshine. Not the kind to give you heat stroke, but the extra sunny kind that felt good after a long winter. "It is," Millie agreed, though it was the usual turnout as far as she could tell. There were about 80 people who fell into one of 3 categories. Those who truly wanted to honor their founder and ancestor, Hezi Parkman. Those with too much time on their hands who came for Alma's homemade snickerdoodles and any gossip they might have missed. And the final group was those who made time and came only out of a sense of duty. Millie was in that last batch. Since Hezi had been her great-great-grandmother, Millie had come every year since her 21st birthday to represent her father and brother who always had an excuse not to be here. Like tonight, her mother was always in the front row, in the aisle seat, doing her duty while looking perfect. Lori Jean wouldn't be having a snickerdoodle, and she'd been one of the scowlers when Frankie had come in and announced herself as tribute. As for Frankie, she was all about honoring the founder, eating the snickerdoodles, and apparently having fun while doing it. Then again, having fun pretty much defined Frankie's attitude about life. Millie envied that attitude, that warm sunshine voice. Heck, she envied Frankie.